in Uganda, they were strictly on their own. And here at Lancaster House, the Commonwealth Summit Conference, to which Amin was not invited, got underway, with an empty chair for Uganda and for the island of the Seychelles, which has had a coup. British Prime Minister James Callaghan was the host this morning for the more than
The fabulous foursome picked up their share of the point total, but overall team balance was the key to Auburn's conference championship. After 5 events on the first day of competition, the War Eagles had a lead of 24 points. One of the biggest surprises was the shot put, an event that Alabama was supposed to dominate. But Auburn's Frank Warren, Rob Will, and Ross Schaffstall picked up 2nd, 3rd, and 6th places for a total of 15 points. Auburn did equally well in the running events as John Fox finished first in the 2-mile run with no one really close at the end. Then came the event that Auburn coach Mel Rosen calls the key to the meet, the 2-mile relay. Auburn's 2-mile relay team of John Tuttle, Theodis Apston, Alan Peffer, and Joe Tolles picked up some more first-place points as Tolles held off Tennessee's Chip Hadler on the final turn. The next day, John Tuttle had to hold off a challenge by Tennessee's Hadler, this time in the 1,000-yard run. Tuttle had equal success, and Auburn had another 11 points for their first-place finish. When it was all over, Auburn had a total of 149 points, or 37 more than runner-up Tennessee. The fabulous foursome of Glantz, Walker, Smith, and Easley is still the heart of the Auburn track team, but this weekend's performance proved the War Eagles have a lot more people for opposing teams to worry about. Dan O'Brien, WSFA TV Sports.
The decision to enter into Phase 1 came after Alabama Power's coal supply dwindled to the 48-day level as a direct effect of the coal strike. In a joint announcement today in Montgomery, Governor George Wallace and Alabama Power President Joseph Farley urgently requested all energy consumers to cut back as much as possible. Farley pointed out that the utility gets almost 75% of its electricity from coal, and unless the strike is brought to an end soon, even more drastic measures will be necessary. Farley said if his company's coal supply runs out, electric service would be cut off to all customers except essential life-supporting agencies. But even with a 48-day supply of coal left, Governor Wallace says he feels the state is in a critical situation now. Among the measures requested of customers in Phase 1 are lower home heating thermostats to 65 degrees or less during heating hours, reduce all indoor lighting levels as close to minimum safety levels as possible, eliminate all unnecessary outdoor lighting, reduce parking lot lighting levels by 50% where practical, curtail use of home appliances such as clothes dryers and dishwashers, and eliminate the use of lighting for advertising and display purposes, and eliminate building flood lighting except for essential safety and security lighting. Phase 1 will remain in effect until the coal supply reaches the 35-day level. Then Phase 2 would include a 20% reduction in businesses, schools, and industries. This is Dave Rickey, WSFA TV News reporting.
The Board of Youth Services met at its Mount Meigs campus. The board expressed appreciation of the members of the legislature who voted for continuance of the Department of Youth Services as a separate state agency. George Pfeiffer, executive director for the agency, said DYS can function as an effective part of state government. Pfeiffer said the rate of commitment of youth to the department's 3 campuses continues to increase, and this includes more hardcore youth. He said there is also a shortage of probation officers.
Probation officers in this state are based on a formula according to population within the county of 1 probation officer per 20,000 total people in the county. As an example, Baldwin County, I believe, is entitled to 5 probation officers, but the county commission there has only chosen to employ 1 probation officer to carry the total caseload. So some counties have not come in for their subsidy for the entire number, and that's why we have the shortage. The beginning salary level in some of the counties is drastically below what people with comparable education and experience are paid who work for the state. As example, employees of the Department of Pensions and Security. So when we employ people and we put them through our training program, other agencies like to have this type of person because they do have experience, and of course they can offer them more money.
On money matters, Pfeiffer said DYS spends 99% of its annual budget, which he said is dangerous should an emergency arise. Youth Services Board Chairman, Representative Bob Hill, said the recently House-passed $200 million bond issue for school construction failed to include the 3 schools at Mount Meigs, Roebuck, and Chalkville. Hill said he will seek a separate appropriation. George Mitchell, WSFA TV News.
feel that women should earn $1 just the same as a man for no matter what job that they take.
Do you feel, I think you said that some women have categorized you as a sex object. Do you feel that it's out of jealousy, perhaps?
Well, I hope not. I just think that they may misinterpret what I've done, and I don't want to be known as a sex object because I am a person, a human being.
What's it really like to be a Playboy bunny?
It's been a lot of fun, and I think it's important that you enjoy your work. And I've found that being a bunny and being a playmate has been a very enjoyable way of earning a living.
It's not as easy as I imagine it looks.
No, it isn't. But I enjoy the travel, and I love meeting all these great people I've met.
This is one of the more than 50 large supermarkets in Montgomery that have become prime targets of people who steal large roasts, expensive hams, and steaks. Store owners say the thieves simply shoplift the meat. They put the meats under their clothes and walk out the store. One local store owner, Hans Utforts, says that theft losses amount to thousands of dollars in his store every year.
Well, about 4 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago on a Sunday, we got ripped off for about $150 worth of meat. They cleaned out our roast section completely. It was a big hole in there. And then we got a message from our security that there were some people around that stealing about $1,000 worth of meat a day in this town.
Have you been able to catch any of these people?
None of those, no, we haven't.
How much money are you losing a year from meat thefts like this?
Well, from about $7,000 to $10,000.
Co-owner Scott Langley says the thieves are picky and only pick the most expensive meats to take.
And ribeyes, whole ribeyes, they run about $35 to $40 a piece. And sirloin tips, whole roast. And small items like bologna maybe. Most of those ribeyes and ribeye steaks. But ribeye steaks run about $5 or $6 a package.
According to our street sources, a package of ribeye steaks like this would sell for $3, more than half the price that it would sell in this store. And this kind of price and an open market in the street is what's causing supermarket owners in Montgomery the serious problem of meat thefts. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News reporting.
oratory of the gentleman from Mountain Brook. He sounded like one of those great, powerful warlords getting ready to set the forces of evil and whiskey loose in this legislature. Those powerful warlords from up there in Jefferson County, you know, going to try to take those little counties around there that come over and spend a little money and take our money away from him. Now, I'll tell you what, when those powerful warlords get loose in this legislature, it's very dangerous, and I think we need to calm down a little bit.
Well, George, I'm concerned about the fact that in my particular area, Tallapoosa County is surrounded by three counties, Clay, Randolph, and Chambers, that are dry. Basically, under the provision of the bill, a wet county, particularly Tallapoosa County, would not benefit very substantially, but the effect of it would be to, in essence, force these dry counties by referendum who have chosen to remain dry. It, in essence, would take tax money out of those counties for the education of their school children, and I think it would have a very strong effect on probably forcing them to go from dry, which they are now, these other three counties, into a wet county. And that, coupled with the fact that Tallapoosa County basically would not be benefited substantially from it. I'm against the bill. I don't think it has the merit. If a county wants to be dry, they ought to have an opportunity to vote on it and remain dry. If they want to be wet, then the majority rule also.
As the bill is presently presented, I can't support it. You know, Coffee County and many other counties in the state have historically addressed themselves at the ballot box to remain dry, and they choose to do so. They also have the points made that we spend a lot of tax money in the neighboring counties on the purchase of alcoholic beverages. Also, the litter and the accidents and the highway patrols and the sheriff's departments and all have to work these wrecks and things that are caused from the use of alcohol in Coffee County. And the sales tax is one which I think should be distributed back to all the counties as it presently is, and not just give it to the counties which sell alcoholic beverages.
But what I'm saying is they have stuck their neck out. The Birmingham News, I understand from the Ethics Commission, had 6 reporters working about 3 months. The Ethics Commission worked about 3 months. Mr. Evans has had their report since December the 1st, and they keep spreading it out. They keep trying me in the newspaper. They keep chopping everything up, and they have not come out with one single concrete thing. And for the last 2 weeks, we've had a couple of sideshows. And this thing with Mrs. Carter in Hamilton is absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And two, it seems that everybody is swallowing this business hook, line, and sinker. And I believe that everybody in the state of Alabama, if they're very intelligent, would know that if I had anything to do with this incident, that certainly they would not have called my name. Evidently, they've run out of something to say to keep spreading it out, and they have resorted to sideshows.
When you say they, are you referring to the three, the District Attorney Ethics Commission and the newspaper?
Well, really, the District Attorney, the Ethics Commission, and the newspaper, in my opinion, has allowed themselves to be used by 2 convicted felons. Now, Doug Benton with Allanet News stated to me that Mr. Firth and Mr. Dyer were involved with organized crime. If that is the case, these 2 criminals have had the Birmingham News, the Ethics Commission, and the DA very busy running down all kinds of lies, spending thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money, harassing us for 6 months. And I think if they had anything, by now they would have done something. It looks like they're spreading it out strictly for politics.
Who is this Miss or Mrs. Ella Mae Carter?
Well, she's a lady who owned or managed the restaurant in Hamilton. She's always been very nice to me.
And what connection does she have with you?
Absolutely none. This is the thing that's so ridiculous. I don't believe anyone involved with Starnesville, Alabama would care if she told anything. I can't imagine anything the lady could tell that would hurt our side at all. It's totally ridiculous.
Do you feel that perhaps what took place in the Hamilton area was possibly done by to give a reverse impression of the overall picture up there?
Oh, absolutely. The whole thing was staged to hurt me. Evidently, they're going to have a sideshow a week, and this was this week's sideshow. Very definitely. And they have had plenty of help from the Birmingham News, the Ethics Commission, and Mr. Evans.
Well, is this a personal vendetta on their part, or does it go deeper than that?
Well, I don't know if it goes deeper than that. I do not know if these two men were sent in for political reasons or if they were trying to move in and use my office. The State Treasurer's office is a very powerful office. As a matter of fact, if it's used right, it can help the people. I have used the office right. The 3 years before I was elected, the Treasurer earned $23 million. The first 3 years that I have been elected, I have earned for the taxpayers $43 million, which is a $20 million increase in 3 years. And you'd better believe that money could be in somebody else's pocket. So if organized crime wants to move in state government, it would be natural that they would start where the power is. Money is power. And you can imagine what kind of power a person would have if they could control a state treasurer.
Have you used the office of state treasurer for personal gain, to borrow the money that you needed?
Absolutely not. If you have the assets and you have good credit, you don't have any problems borrowing the money, because this is what banks are for. You know, nobody bothered to tell that we have paid like 9 3/4 and 11% on some loans. If we had gotten even cheap loans, then people would have a right to say something. But we have paid the same rate that other business people have paid. So I don't have any apologies, George, at all for any of this.
Well, what about, you deny then that you use the office of state treasurer to benefit Melba Till Allen?
You'd better believe I do, George. To carry on, listen, it's really unconstitutional if you are eliminated from the free enterprise system because you're state treasurer. If the loans were low interest or no interest, you'd better believe I would be guilty. But I challenge anybody to check the interest rates on any of the loans.
Well, the main reason is that we're interested in death penalties everywhere in the world. In fact, in the last year, I've been in all 5 continents doing this type of work. The case of Johnny Harris came to our notice. It's the first execution in some time, apart from Gary Gilmore, a matter of 10 years. It's a very important issue. It has many issues inside that main issue of the death penalty. The organization that I represent is in fact an organization with some 170,000 members in 107 countries. That's who I'm representing. We are concerned that the death penalty is a cruel punishment. The psychological and physical torture involved is something that gives rise to a great deal of concern. That is my prime mission coming to Alabama.
What kind of activities do you hope to go through with this mission?
Well, I hope to visit the defendant in prison. I hope to speak to people in the legal defense team. I hope to speak to members of the prosecution staff. It would be nice to get a rounded picture. I come here without a great deal of information at the moment. We are fervently an abolitionist organization, but I would like to speak to everybody involved.
How much of an effect do you think that you and your organization that you represent have?
In general issues, of course, we were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for last year. If that is an index of anything or a sign of anything, then maybe there's some success or coincidence in success at any rate. As far as this specific issue is concerned, I'm here on a fact-finding mission. It would be nice to feel that the abolitionist cause, which I represent, could in fact gain some support in this state and in this country, given our visit here. As far as the specific issue is involved, I shall be researching it very carefully and hope in fact that the person concerned will not be executed.
We're getting all kinds of input. Basically, we're getting input on the various types of trails they'd like to see incorporated in the National Trail System study. Horse trails. There's quite a bit of interest in the Southeast. The 3 meetings that we've had so far by horse groups, they want horse trails, they want backpacking trails, they want canoe trails. We've had an awful lot of interest in the establishment of heritage centers at selected places along the trail, whether it be a botanical, natural, scientific, educational program. There's interest in botanical gardens, arboretums along the route. So the interest in the heritage study that goes with the trail offers unlimited possibilities, and that's what we're finding too.
Thank God for the United States of America. Thank God for the United States Air Force to keep her free. And thank you for giving me this honor. God bless all of you.
In this event, swimmers with 40 lengths of the pool. Free. Time 3:33.66. In second place, swimming in lane 3 for the University of Alabama.
Where? From Litchfield, Kentucky. Litchfield, Kentucky.
This is Roland Allen. He's also a Vermont American. All right, now so many.
Administrator, who will be the, we want you to know that we're very grateful that you are making this announcement and have this much confidence in Alabama's industrial future, because you, of course, have other plants in Alabama And you know that we in this state believe in the free enterprise system and the profit system. And we think you've come to a mighty fine place when you've come to Auburn.
Most answers are going to require some time. Unfortunately, there's no quick fix. We've done those things instantly, which we could do.
Agricultural Department answers are no longer appeasing the nation's farmers. Costs are high, prices are low. First, many farmers called for a strike, and now they want a crop cutback. Tonight at 6:30, Channel 12 explores the current agricultural dilemma on a WSFA TV News special report, Farming, Harvest of Diminishing Return.
This is Bill Beecham, who manages the resort Stars over Alabama. He's also the former employer of Lula Mae Carter, who was beaten last Tuesday by a masked person near her Hamilton, Alabama restaurant. Beecham has appeared before Montgomery County District Attorney Jimmy Evans twice to answer questions in connection with the grand jury's investigation of State Treasurer Melba Till Allen's financial affairs.
I've appeared in Mr. Evans' office twice, once under his confidential interrogation and then once before the grand jury.
Are you at liberty to say what transpired?
Well, I'm not at liberty to say what the questions he asked me in a grand jury, but I will tell you this, that Mr. Evans called me a liar a number of times, and I don't like it. He also threatened me with just about everything but bodily harm. You know, the news media tell how much Ms. Allen owes and how many banks she owes. Well, they don't never come out and tell how many assets she's got. I feel that this park is worth over $6 million.
Why do you think that the incident of the past few days occurred when this Miss Carter?
Strictly to destroy Ms. Allen and me financially. I was never turned down for a bank loan in my life by any bank. Now I do business with 6 banks in Marion County and once in Lauderdale County. I've been doing business with those banks for 12 years. And right now, nobody even wants to say good morning to me. They're afraid they'll be indicted or investigated or have to bring their bank statements to Montgomery.
Well, why is this being done to you?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not afraid of any interview. I'm not afraid of any judge or any jury or any investigation. And I also stated this to the Montgomery County District Attorney, Mr. Jimmy Evans. And what I'm telling you here, it'd be the same thing that I told Mr. Evans. Now, if you don't believe I'm telling you the truth, I'll take a polygraph test, and we'll see if I'm telling the truth or he is.
And you've not been allowed to take this
Well, how would you feel if I called you a liar about 18 or 20 times in a 3-hour interview? Would you feel good towards me?
Who's doing the name calling?
Mr. D.A. Mr. D.A. said I'm lying. I'm protecting Ms. Allen. I'm shielding her. Everything, and I gave that D.A. documents, the documents, and everything that I testified under oath before the grand jury or before him or any of his people. I'm willing to take a polygraph test that I've told the truth from day one.
The state treasurer said a John Firth and Norman Dyer, she identified as 2 convicted felons, have been harassing her for 6 months. Mrs. Allen has asked Attorney General Bill Baxley to investigate the situation.
I said, I'm sorry if it messes up your politics. I can't help it if you're running for governor. You're supposed to be the top law enforcement of the state first.
What was his response when you asked him to come in?
Well, of course, he said he had never just come in and taken over a case before, but we gave his top investigator some information yesterday, which I think gives him good grounds to come into this case.
The probe into Mrs. Allen's financial matters came after the State Ethics Commission reported it found probable cause to believe she used her office for personal gain. The commission turned the investigation over to the Montgomery District Attorney. George Mitchell, WSFA TV News.
And I'd be glad to try to answer any questions you might have.
Of course, we all hope this strike will be over as quickly as possible. For the long range, it can have an effect on development, but generally it's affecting existing industry. When we're talking to a manufacturer who is, say, based in the north.
The businessmen and their wives got their first glimpse of Cuba yesterday through clouds of summer rain. It is rainy season here, but the showers did nothing to dampen the Cubans' welcome or the Americans' curiosity about this island as a potential market for U.S. products. The business delegation is getting the royal capitalist treatment in this communist stronghold. They're staying at the best hotel on the island that features luxuries like air conditioning and toilet paper. Last night, the businessmen and women were treated to a spectacular buffet designed to show off Cuban export food products. The Cubans want to sell to the United States as much as they want to buy. Almost 40 different American firms are represented in this delegation. Most are involved in agricultural and construction equipment or medical supplies.
Don Craig, NBC News,